Coming up on Tech Thing, no, your unlimited data plan is not unlimited. Where are all the Ryzen motherboards? Lima personal cloud, how about that CIA data dump, and so much more, all coming up on Tech Thing. Thank you, patrons. Without your support via patreon.com/techthing, we wouldn't be able to make the show for you every week. Join the crew that makes Tech Thing possible at patreon.com/techthing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is Tech Thing, where we have something useful in every single show.
And if we don't, tell us. Tweet at TechThing or post at facebook.com/techthing or email ask@techthing.com. We love your questions, your suggestions, your viewer tips.
Yes.
Bring them on.
I think today we have something very useful in this episode.
I have the Asus Prime X370-Pro motherboard I coveted. And I only drove 206 miles to pick it up.
You had to go 200 miles to get a motherboard?
206.
You couldn't just, sorry, I forgot the 6.
Not counting the...
I forgot the 6 miles.
Not counting the, that's not counting
Why
the stop
couldn't you order it online?
They are, basically all AMD Ryzen motherboards are sold out.
Oh no.
Yeah. AMD says the motherboard situation is strictly a supply issue. The vendors didn't anticipate how popular Ryzen was going to be. There are more on the way. It's true, supplies are trickling in. We've heard directly or indirectly from a number of motherboard vendors that are basically like, we're drop shipping them as fast as we can.
Okay.
There is a lot of discussion online. Some of the memory timing issues. If, for example, if you want to run all the memory and all the sockets at all the speed overclocked, Legit Reviews is a pretty good article that summarizes what I've heard from a number of vendors or motherboard manufacturers who are basically, they're like, oh man, AMD didn't give us enough resources for our engineering teams. They moved up the ship date of the Ryzen 7. We didn't have time to build enough motherboards. In any case, the motherboards are slowly becoming available. I would not be surprised if a whole lot of them show up late in March. We will find out late in March, which is
we're gonna find out.
Closing in soon.
Yep.
If you are building a Ryzen 7 system, we'll be building one for you if you're a patron. Keep an eye on your motherboard manufacturer's website for firmware updates, especially for memory and UFI improvements.
Oof, I'm so excited.
I am excited.
So are you using all new gear?
Recycling some DDR4. Actually, I take that back. I just ordered some like 3200 gigahertz DDR4.
Oh, okay.
Because this architecture is actually supposed to respond well to higher speed memory if I can get it to run. But that's a whole other conversation. Corsair got us an H1110i,
awesome.
So I basically didn't want to have to think about heat dissipation. One of the things we saw in the early reviews is that as you overclock this, the thermals, the TDP on the Ryzen processors kind of goes through the roof.
Oh.
I've got a Ryzen 7 1800X, and we're going to build it, get the video out to all of our patrons, the build video, and I'm going to start rendering and editing some video on this, and I will let you know what happens.
Sounds good.
I'm excited. It should be so fast.
Chris writes in to ask@techthing.com, I have been using a Pogoplug version 2 since they came out. Pogoplug seems to have changed their business and service model, and since then my device has become unreliable. It requires hard reboots occasionally. I no longer need to provide media to my sister in the Peace Corps in a developing country and would like to have another reliable solution for my toys and entertainment when I am away from home. Any thoughts would be appreciated. From Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Hey.
I remember Pogoplug.
Pogoplug.
That's like old school.
Well, it's it's old school, but they've been around for a while. They're up to version 4 of the hardware, so there's a possibility that that updating the hardware might fix your problem. But Pogoplugs, like they started out right. You buy this box, plug your drive into it, share your data anywhere. You don't have to worry about dynamic DNS or configuring or updates. Then they added unlimited cloud syncing, which they shut down late in 2016 and upset a lot of users because apparently they didn't get the email and they thought they lost their data, so they put the cloud data back up. Big messy thing. In any case, Pogoplug still sells the software, but they're really about like a $30 subscription for their sharing app that runs on your PC, or you can do for $80 discounted to $50. Is
that like a one-time fee?
That's an annual fee.
Oh.
Revenue stream.
Okay.
They also have a pro version that lets you access your remote computer like a local drive using their Drive app that has instant sharing of massive files, which sounds a lot like what the $30 subscription is supposed to do. And of course, it's a big sort of checkbox when you try to subscribe to the $30 version. Pogoplug's been known for irritating add-on service ads for years.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that. it's a cultural thing there. They're looking for more revenue, and they've always been that way. So Chris adds that he has 3 Raspberry Pis and a spare 6-year-old AMD box, if that helps.
Ooh.
It totally helps. You could set up a Resilio network. If you're not familiar with that, that's the new name for BitTorrent Sync. Or if you don't mind setting up a dynamic IP server for your home IP address, some kind of Linux-based media server. Just remember that AMD box that's 6 years old is probably going to be horking down all the power, which you may or may not care about. Yeah, or you could just buy a NAS with built-in server options, which is kind of what we do.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
With my Synology.
And they update the operating system regularly.
Yay.
Go Synology.
Woo.
Or you can do what most people are doing, which is just put your media in cloud storage. Yeah.
Google Drive, or what is the Apple one called? I don't have any iOS devices. Well, except for an iPad, but I never use it.
I have,
Somebody in the comments will tell us.
Well, it's iCloud, but I'm just
iCloud, that's what
I
it
have
is.
so steadfastly avoided it on my beloved iPhone. I just block it out completely. In any case, if you like the idea of simple, convenient hardware, Shannon's got a new, easy to set up, plug your hard drive into it, and forget it option.
Yay!
Yay!
Yes, this one is called the Lima Ultra. It's $129 online. They have a wait list right now. Hurry, the wait list is almost full, 97%. It's been like that for a few days, so I think you got some time. Availability is expected soon. During their press release time, during CES, they said Q1 of 2017. Since it's a little bit past Q1, I would say, almost, we'll probably be expecting like Q2 or something. It's very lightweight, isn't it? It's
I was going to say, it feels
it's
like
like pocketable.
Well, I was going to say it feels heavy, like they put enough weight inside of it to keep it from being dragged over the side of the table by the power cord.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So we've got Ethernet, power, and a USB port.
Yes.
I think I know how this works.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty easy to use. The Lima Ultra Personal Cloud, it's a little box that you plug into your home network, and then you plug in a hard disk drive or a solid state disk. I have this 3 terabyte solid state that I was using for testing, and it allows you to access your data on that drive while you are away from home. It's also really, really crazy easy to set up too. It does require downloading an executable file if you are on Windows, on your computer. I use Windows at home, so that's what I had to do. They also have a Mac tool, an iOS tool, an Android app, well, iOS app, I should say, and they also have a Linux software device as well, or executable for that too. So yay, Linux. I'm super excited that they included Linux in their downloadables. That's great. Not everybody does that. So the PC must be connected to the same network that you are on, so that it can see the Lima and the hard disk drive that you want to access. So you plug this into power, and then you take the little Ethernet port on here and plug that into your router.
That's just for the initial setup.
Or your wireless, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And then you plug in your hard drive into the USB port, and then this will power on your hard drive through it. So it has power over USB, which is nice. And then once you have that connected to your network, you can find it through the software on your PC, and then you just go through the setup process. It does encrypt whenever you set it up, which is super cool.
Nice.
More on that in a bit. You must set up a login account so that you can access it via your mobile as well. So if you pull out the Android app and you log in, you'll be able to access the files at home, and it's not going to give you somebody else's files. It kind of reminds me of Dropbox in a way, but instead of putting your trust into a company up in their server, wherever their server might be, you are putting your trust in a device in your own home. Now that's not going to protect you from things like, a fire or a flood. Obviously, those are going to make your equipment fail, but it will protect you from dealing with external hacks on company servers in that case.
And in theory, they shouldn't have access to your
Exactly,
data,
yeah, everything's
although
encrypted.
They're just going to know everywhere you are when you're connecting.
Pretty
you
much,
go
yeah.
to them to get the IP address for that to do the connection.
Yeah. So once you have it set up, the hard disk drive shows up on that home computer like any other drive on Windows Explorer, and then you just add data files to it, and you can just copy and paste or drop them into the drive, which is super easy. On the Android app, I had no trouble accessing PDFs, photos, music, videos. I tested all sorts of different kind of files through, though the video, it did take a long time to download. I had to download it before I could actually watch it because it did pause about halfway through the video that I was streaming, and it was like a 10-minute video that I was testing it with. Streaming music was absolutely no problem. MP3s just played flawlessly, and I was like, like, that's so cool. I can just stream from home. That's great, especially if you don't want to pay for like Google Play or something like that. So super useful there. Lima does have an option to create a share link, but when I tried to do that from the Android app, it didn't work. It failed, and I have a screen capture of that saying unable to create a share link. And then it said something went wrong with Lima, and this happened to all the different files. However, if you just try to share a file to your contacts or to Slack or Hangouts or whatever you have, that worked fine. So I don't know why there was an issue with share links. It works in Dropbox, but it doesn't work with Lima.
I suggest, well, it's also technically Lima hasn't shipped yet, so they're probably still finishing the beta.
That's true. Yeah, that might be
Consider
why.
the beta software.
Yeah, that might be why. I could also Chromecast from the app, which is super cool. So if you want to stream a video to your or to your TV, it works flawlessly. You simply connect it just like you do any other app, and then you can view your files via the Chromecast. So super simple. All the files are stored on the hard disk drive. So if you don't have a connection, you can't access the files, obviously. So if I'm on my Android app, I don't download them to my phone, I can't access them. If I do download them first, and then I get in an airplane or something, I can still access them because they will be on my little Android phone instead. Now moving on from there, you can also move, delete, or rename the files and add files from your phone. Via the desktop app, you can also view storage size available, you can view connected devices if you have more than one Lima device, and you can free up space if you need to. You can also manage caching. So Lima does, they use cache to allow you to access commonly used files faster on the Lima hard disk drive. The Lima Ultra is USB 2.0, so even though my hard disk drive is 3.0, it basically downgrades to 2.0 speeds. And the local file saving takes about 400 megabits per second. It does work with HFS Plus, NTFS, and ext4 drives. And lastly, if you get a second Lima to set it up on another connection, like if you want one at work as well, you can get that file redundancy because it will mirror on both Lima devices at the same time, as long as you have the same size hard drives.
Do you choose the files to mirror, or just automatically just start moving files?
You can choose, which is very nice. The two Limas will mirror each other just fine, and I think that's a really cool extra addition that they include in there. Other than that, they include AES 256 encryption when you first start it up, so you have to put encryption on this. It won't even let you boot it.
Good.
At the beginning of your startup.
That's fine.
So yeah, that's a nice little addition, and it's very easy. It doesn't add on any complications for the user, which is great. So simple, nice little process. I like it. I'm really happy that they have easy to use software, and I think if it's something that you don't want to pay for in a company's cloud, this would be a good alternative for you, especially since they have the second generation now, which is the Ultra, so they're doing good.
Just remember, uploading and downloading applies to most caps. So
yes, it does.
If you have lots of people streaming video off of your Lima, it will add up.
Yep, keep that in mind too. So let me know what you guys think, or if you have other alternatives for like at-home cloud, personal cloud device things, like the Pogoplug and the Lima. Let me know. You can email us, ask@techthing.com, or you can tweet me @snubs or @techthing. We got a question from Bob asking about unlimited data plans. He says, I live in a small Colorado community and my only internet options are a microwave-based solution that maxes at a theoretically 20 megabits per second, which means I typically get around 12, and satellite, both of which a little expensive and have data caps. Now that just about every carrier has unlimited plans, I'm considering just using a hotspot as my input to my home network. Speed tests I've done on 3 of the top networks show their speeds in my area pretty consistently between 16 to 28 megabits per second, which, if my math is right, is better. I'm ready to jump, but I'm not exactly sure what the plumbing would look like to make this happen. Please help. Fan for life, from Bob. That's a great question.
It is a great question, because we get to talk about sort of like rural internet options or RV internet options and been rebuilding.
RV!
Yeah. The Airstream I drove the Airstream yesterday.
What?
Let's talk about axle replacement on an Airstream when you're all really bored.
Oh, now I'll fall asleep.
Yeah, but more importantly, let's talk about unlimited data plans. I'm going to guess that your local microwave operator is your best option, because those unlimited data plans, well, say it with me, people, unlimited data plans are not unlimited. Yeah.
Yes, I got it right.
They're unlimited because they don't cut you off when you exceed the cap, and they don't charge you $15 a gigabyte after you exceed the cap.
slow.
They slow you down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk new unlimited data plans. If you've been sitting on an unlimited AT&T plan from back in 2010 or Verizon, I guess they stopped selling theirs in 2011. That's fantastic. But I don't have a time machine, so we're not going to talk about your deals today. If you go to AT&T's, I'm going to pick on AT&T because they're my provider, and I've sent them a lot of money over the last decade. See it right here, highlighted, because you notice things get really, really small. After 22 gigabytes of usage, AT&T may slow down data speeds. And if you go down to this 4-point type down here, additional usage speed and other restrictions may apply. See below for plan details. Verizon is also, their kind of cap starts at 22 gigabytes. Excuse me, their not cap starts at 22 gigabytes. T-Mobile's not cap is at 28 gigabytes. Sprint's not cap, memory serves at 23 gigabytes. They all give themselves the option of throttling your data. And when we're talking about data throttling, a plan I was looking at, a shared plan on AT&T I was looking at a few weeks ago, they're like, you're going to have 20 gigabytes, and then we're going to drop you to 128K to the end of the billing period.
Wah, wah.
You cannot buy extra data.
That's
Just
terrible.
move along really slow, which is awful. So if you take a look at and then you get into there's Unlimited Plus and Unlimited Choice. And Unlimited Plus, you're like, yeah, it's unlimited. Yeah, I can turn off Stream Saver and have HD video. And after 10 gigabytes hotspot speed, limited use to a max of 128 kilobits per second, which kind of sounds sucktastic if you're paying like $90 a month for it.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
Okay, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
They have a wireless home option from AT&T. AT&T wireless home phone and internet. Yeah, it's got this like base stationist thing. You get phone service with it. It's 25 gigabytes for $60 a month, or 50 gigabytes for $100 a month. They say to expect. AT&T says 5 to 12 megabits per second, which is more than enough to stream Netflix for a few hours before you blow through your cap. But the thing about this is $60 for 25 gigabytes is, I think, more expensive than I'm paying for my shared plan. But you're also not paying $40 per phone line on this. So
I guess it would depend on how many devices you're going to use.
Yeah, and also if you dig around through the fine print in the web page here, and there's a lot of fine print and a lot of jumps to other web pages and stuff. Each time you exceed 22 gigabytes in a billing cycle, your data speeds may be reduced at times, and an area is experiencing network congestion for the rest of that billing cycle. Yeah.
And then that wouldn't even be your fault.
No. Yeah, like unlimited, same thing. Like Verizon's unlimited plan. This is one of my personal favorite web pop-ups. Unlimited data, question mark. Oh, I can read that with my reading glasses on. 4G LTE only. After 22 gigabytes per line per month, we may prioritize your data behind other Verizon customers during network congestion. Mobile hotspot tethering reduced to 3G speeds after 10 gigabytes per month. Domestic data roaming is at 2G speeds. It's just the cutest little pop-up ever. So the point is the typical mobile customer is using like 3 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And if you're AT&T and Verizon or T-Mobile or somebody else, all you want is somebody to go like, if I can take them from paying $30 a month for the data they don't actually use all of, to $60 a month for unlimited data that they don't actually use all of it of. That's more money for us. And for the people who are on the fringe, for like myself, who I've done like 30 gigabytes a day. I think I ended up with 32 gigabytes of data when we were at CES because of all the uploading and a bunch of streaming and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
If you are a home user, they know you might, if you think you're actually going to use unlimited amounts of data, you're not gonna, no, it just, 10 gigabytes, good to go. 22 gigabytes, probably. In theory, right, if there's like, if you're in Paradox, Colorado, population 6, which I don't actually think has much in the way of cell phone coverage, but let's say you're in a small community and nobody is actually streaming, you might not get your data throttled down, but that's an incredible, that's a big guess, and one you want to figure out in the first 15 days while you can still return the hardware.
Yeah.
I would say, Kelly Communications, microwave provider in Colorado, they'll give you like up to 15 megabits per second. You get a 300 gigabyte cap. It's $70 a month. And 300 gigabytes doesn't sound like a lot because I have a terabyte at home, but it's a lot better than 22 or 10 gigabytes.
Yeah, definitely.
And if all that sounds awful, imagine spending $80 a month to get 50 gigabytes during normal human hours, and another 50 gigabytes you can use between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. with like 15 megabits down and 2 megabits up. That's one of the fattest satellite plans you can get from HughesNet.
Oh, HughesNet.
HughesNet, yeah. And they started, there are other alternative satellite internet providers, but like a typical number is, say, $50 a month for 5 megabits per second down. And 5 gigabytes of anytime data. Whew. So if you think your internet options are limited, move out to the country. And you
I used to live there. I know.
Yeah. So hopefully, Bob, that helps you. And hopefully for everybody who's like, I'm going to get unlimited data, read the fine print, because your unlimited data for your cell phone plan is 22 gigabytes. Read the fine print. It will beat you with a stick every time. Tech Thing is here for you, people. We love your questions, your tips, and we do our best to review products and the apps you ask us to review. So fire out your questions to ask@techthing.com, please, or you can tweet at TechThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Norton. And hey, a big thank you to everyone that supports the show at patreon.com/techthing. Just $1 an episode makes a big difference, and you'll get access to our patron-only treats. Thank you for your patronage. You make Tech Thing possible. Seriously, thank you for supporting the show no matter how you do it. We love doing the show for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another ThreatWire security brief. Shannon is all kerfuffled about the big WikiLeaks CIA dump.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a huge story, rightfully so. According to WikiLeaks, this is the largest publication of confidential CIA documents ever to exist.
Formally confidential.
Yeah, formally.
If it's legit.
And it's from a high security CIA network in Langley, Virginia, which is where they are, that's where they're at. So CIA documents pertain to development of all sorts of different hacking tools, but they don't disclose any kind of proof of the real life hacks. Just want to put that out there before everybody starts freaking out about them.
So assuming this is real, and it's not a really clever false flag operation, these tools, which mostly don't seem to be complete in some cases, may or may not have been actually used in real life. So if you've been like duct taping over every port on your Samsung TV, you might be overreacting.
Oh, well, that's okay. I put tape over my webcams anyway. So on Tuesday, March 7th, WikiLeaks published several different documents in this ongoing series that they dubbed called Vault 7 from the Central Intelligence Agency, which is here in the US. So they started with over 8,000 different documents, codenamed Year Zero, and they are saying that they're going to have a bunch more coming out too. And according to the WikiLeaks press release, Year Zero documents describe all these different hacking tools that the CIA uses. There's the Samsung TV microphones, there's weaponized exploits on popular brands of smartphone operating systems, including Android and iOS, and there's Windows device hacks, and apparently they use USB rubber duckies. The documents are dated from 2013 all the way to 2016, so that's a good 3 years worth of data that WikiLeaks is going to be disclosing. And according to WikiLeaks, the CIA tools are built by this thing called the Engineering Development Group, which I'm sure we're gonna hear a lot more about in the future, which is this group within the Center for Cyber Intelligence, which is inside the CIA. So tools built by the EDG include Weeping Angel, which is the thing that checks your Samsung TV microphone. There's iOS 0 days, there's Android 0 days, and supposedly they're using these to target real-world surveillance on specific individuals. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. So according to WikiLeaks, this is only a small percentage of all the different documents that they've obtained, and they are going to be releasing more in the future. So I did this really long segment yesterday on ThreatWire. It's a good 10 minutes on youtube.com/hack5, just breaking down all the details about what we know so far and what I've read on there. I include a bunch of links to the specific CIA documents that WikiLeaks published. Definitely check it out if you want to learn more about this alleged CIA hacking tools and what they mean for our audience as well, because it does bring up a question of surveillance, again, just like Edward Snowden's NSA hacks.
Yeah, here's the thing though, is like in this case, the CIA is supposed to operate outside of the continental United States.
Right,
CIA is completely said none of these tools were developed or used inside of the United States, which means WikiLeaks have probably just compromised our ability to gather signals intelligence from the people we're trying to fight. For example, well, you can list. Pick the foreign terrorist group you hate the most this week and insert their name there, which...
opinions are relative.
Opinions are relative.
Yeah, opinions are relative.
But yeah, I mean, I've been having complicated emotions about WikiLeaks for a while, and they're getting less and less complicated, more and more irritated. That said, if these are being used into, like, domestically, kill it with fire, but that's a whole other argument. Expect mayhem to ensue in Congress, and we will learn more or share more as we know it.
Yep, youtube.com/hack5 for our ThreatWire picks, and I will continue to share ThreatWire briefs over here on TechThing as well.
David writes in, to see what or if your VPN is leaking any details, two good sites to check are whoair.net or whoer.net and ipleak.net. They will show you what they can find out about you via your browser and connection. I run a VPN almost constantly because up yours Comcast data collection. It never hurts to check regularly to see that your VPN is indeed hiding what it claims to be hiding, although just as with the VPN, one has to trust Whoer and IPleak. I figure if I check both sites and they're both showing the same things, we're good. Love the show. Keep up the great work. David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, man.
Yes, so you have those pulled up over on your computer.
Yeah, you know, I'm assuming this is who are you and not other ways of pronouncing that, but basically this is a kind of a screen grab of what my computer looks like without a VPN. You know, my IP address, data, whatever kind of geolocations you can get me. It also tells me like, oh wow, JavaScript's turned on in this browser. And then if I have my VPN on, bink, whoops, if I have my VPN on, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's, you know, my anonymity is now 100%. And this is what IP looks like. It's a little more utilitarian, ipleak.net. And I like how the DNS address is inside of here, and that's what it looks like after. But you'll notice like VPN off, VPN on. And the biggest thing is that the IP address changes, and of course the other information changes on there. So that's a good thing. You are a big fan of IP Chicken.
I am, yes. Every time we've showed like how to set up a VPN on Hack5, Darren and I always use IP Chicken to test our IP address. So, I just love the name. It's so easy to remember, IP Chicken.
Well, yeah, it's really simple. If your VPN is off, sorry, I'm going to right-click on the wrong thing over and over again. Disconnect, and so that's my IP address behind the VPN, and that's my IP address not behind the VPN.
So it works. Yay!
It works.
Very cool.
Remember, none of these web pages know if your VPN is logging your browsing habits.
Yes.
So while you may be hiding your browsing from Comcast, I do the same thing. I do. Your VPN.
I think we all do.
You never know what your VPN is doing.
Yep,
You
so
have
true.
to trust your VPN.
We also got an email from Adam who writes, hey, I checked out Brave Browser after watching your last video. I think it might be a good idea to do a brief follow-up in another video to mention there's a mobile version as well. This really caught my interest when I went to the site because Chrome for Android doesn't have extension support, yet it's hands down the most usable browser in terms of performance.
Oh yeah.
So the Brave mobile browser gives ad blocking without needing extensions, bypassing the worst part about Chrome for Android. And if you use it with the Chromer app, another thing you should review because it's freaking awesome. It means you can block ads on all of the ad-laden garbage people post on Facebook and such. This is a game changer for me. No ads on mobile with speedy Chromium as the backend. That's a big deal. I've never found a good solution for mobile browsers, and so far this checks all the boxes. Thanks for the heads up from Adam. That's awesome. I didn't even realize there was a Brave mobile browser, but I have the same issues with Chrome on my Android, and I hate the stupid pop-up ads that take up the entire screen and then you can't read whatever you're trying to read. So yes, I'm totally gonna download it.
There's an iOS version too, and I'm running it right now.
Cool.
And it is delightfully fast.
That's so great. See, this is why we love it when you guys email us and put in your little tidbits, because man, you guys have so many more eyeballs than we do, and I am so excited to download this now. So thank you so much for that.
It's good.
All right.
Look at Chromer coming soon.
Chromer.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, once in a while, put down the phone, step away from the screen, close the laptop, and do something analog, like take a small child to a museum.
Aww.
In this case, the California State Railroad Museum in beautiful Sacramento, California.
So cute.
Just my son's reward for not weeping and kicking things while we were in Fry's.
I bet your boys loved that museum.
I just had the 4-year-old with me, and yes.
Oh.
What I never realized is they actually rotate the stock inside
they do?
that museum. So there's 2 trains. Like my favorite train
So you
was
can
not
keep going
there.
back.
Yes.
Cool.
Consider investing in an annual membership to your favorite museums and just go over
Yeah.
and over again.
Support your museums.
Art museums, science museums, nature museums, botanical gardens.
All right, let's wrap it up.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on Tech Thing.
My favorite museums, I like history museums. I went to the Edo Tokyo Museum, or Edo,
wow.
in Tokyo, and they had all sorts of amazing recreations of old buildings, and they even had one for the I don't even know what it's called, the big shrine that you carry through a parade in Japan. Oh, so cool.
Have you ever been to Greenfield Village?
No, what is that?
Henry Ford decided to sort of preserve Americana, including Edison's first big workshop.
What?
It's amazing. It's in Michigan, and also the museum.
Never been to Michigan.
Never been to Michigan?
It's one of the few states I've never been to, and I'm a military
Where the
brat.
Midwest goes wild.
Cool.
It's the only part of the Midwest that's not squared off.
Oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, there's good stuff there.
Dude, that looks so fun.
Got a favorite museum? Do us a favor. Share it with us.
Yes.
AskATechThing.com. And thanks.
Thank
all
you.
Of you, because y'all make the show possible.
We appreciate every single one of you.
We do.